Hey, Mark Meldrum, Meldrum's Monster Garage, and I've got a great story about a 1968 Chevelle race car coming up. But before I get to that, I do a little cleaning, housekeeping, whatever you call it. My channel has different playlists, so if you're interested in different things on my playlist, obviously I do a lot of restoration work on Chevelles, but I'll work on Beetles, I'll work on just about anything. And I have different playlists I categorize everything by. So usually by year Chevelle or by project Chevelle we're working on, or car shows, which leads me to today's story. We went to a car show at Slyman's Dodge Jeep out in Amherst. And the reason we decided to go out there was a very good friend of ours, Diane Nickel. Her daughter, Devin, works at the dealership. And she's moving up the ranks at the dealership, and we wanted to support her and support the car show out there. So very rarely does Patty go to a car show with me, but today we had good reason. So we got out to the car show, we saw Devin as we signed up, but then we started walking around the car show, and we ran across this 1968 Chevelle race car that raced out at Sandusky Speedway. And we're looking at all the names, and we saw that it said Linda Lander was the driver of this race car. And Patty's like, couldn't be. I went to high school with Linda Lander. She was a good friend of mine. She used to come over to the house all the time. Couldn't be her. She wasn't a race car driver. So there's a gentleman sitting there. It was Jerry Owens, and we started talking to him, and that was Linda's husband. And Jerry says, oh my gosh, let me call her and get her over here. So he calls her, and she comes over, and wow, what a big surprise Patty and her had getting back together. And it was just fun to see the both of them get together. And then after they had told a few stories, I pulled Linda aside and I said, listen, tell me about this race car. I've got a YouTube channel. I mainly talk about Chevelles, and this is really, really cool. So she starts telling me about this race car and the history of it. And apparently, very shortly after we graduated back in the 82, Patty was 81, I was 82, Linda started racing. And she had a little bit of a racing career out at Sandusky Speedway. She raced in 85, 86, 90, and 91. I got some notes here. And she was the first woman driver at Sandusky Speedway to win a feature. And I found some clips of her racing, some old videotape clips. I'll try to get them into this video. But wow, it was really cool seeing the car there. And I said, well, did you keep the car all these years? And she said, well, no, I didn't own the car. I raced for this guy, and he sold the car. So I'm like, well, my gosh, how'd you get it back? And she had a great story. The car had gone from Ohio, as race cars do. They're bought and sold, and it went to Massachusetts, Colorado, and ended up in Wyoming. And then he ended up in the Larry Carroll collection because, hey, this race car had history. A woman race car driver back in the 80s, pretty rare, and a winning one at that, even rare. So I guess Linda was in search for this car, and during COVID, she would type in just about every day 1968 Chevelle race car, and lo and behold, one day, boom, it comes up, and it's going to be at the Mecum auction in Kissimmee, and this was in 2021. So I looked up the auction, and sure enough, there was the car, and her husband Jerry wanted the car back for her, bid on the car, won the car, had it shipped back to Ohio to reunite with Linda on Valentine's Day in February of 2021. So what a cool story that they got this car back. And of course it was in pristine condition when she got it because it was part of a car collection. And Linda got involved with Vintage Race Car Association. And Lander might be familiar to you guys that are local here in Elyria her family was involved with Lander Antique Restoration, which was in Elyria, Ohio, and my brother used to do work for them. And he would pinstripe cars and letter cars and whatnot. I talked to David, her brother was there, and we talked about that a little bit. And I guess Linda's brother Dennis actually had the restoration shop there in Elyria. But what a cool day. I mean, we got to see people we went to school with, Shelly Phillips and Diane Nickel and her whole family. And we saw some other folks out there from the Chevelle Club. We saw Jeff, and we saw Craig Youngblood, and we saw some other people from the Chevelle Club. My names are slipping in my mind right now, but seeing Linda was really, really cool. And we're going to try to stay in contact with her and find out if she's going to have this car at some of the vintage race car places where we can actually go see the car at the track, and maybe we can talk Linda into coming to the Northern Ohio Chevelle Club show next year in August. So once again, I've got some clips I'll show you, and as I was telling this story, I'll try to have some photos come across too. But really, really cool. Nice to see you, Linda, and good luck with the car, and thank you for the story for Meldrum's Monster Garage. And that's about it today. We got to get back out in the garage. We're restoring this 1970 LS6 car. We got seat belts restored for it, so the interior is going to come back together this week, so stay tuned. Mark Meldrum, Meldrum's Monster Garage. See ya. There she is.
This is best race car. Best race car. A '68 Chevy.